Hi, I'm Kenneth Wajda. I'm a professional photographer here in Colorado. Welcome to another one of my photography talks. Today we're talking about gear, specifically a Leica CL with a 40mm lens. So if you like a slightly wider than 50mm lens and you want a small Leica that you can carry around easily, you can buy these as a Minolta branded CL, but the Leica brand will cost you a few more bucks. But this one actually came to me through a local guy in town who's a musician who said, hey, my mom had this camera that I think she used to carry around and said spies would use. And I said, really? And he didn't know what it was, so he said, I'll bring it by. And I paid him, I don't know, probably $500 for this camera with 28, a 40, and a 90, which was a good deal. And that's what he asked for it. And it's one of those cameras that I carry sometimes. Hey, you know, I said the Leica M5 was the only one that had the side hanging lugs, but actually the CL does too. And this is a great little small-bodied camera. Now, the meter on this works, but there are a lot of them that the meter stops working. And I don't think that it's the kind of thing that I would certainly ever repair. It would be the kind of thing that if it works, I would use it. If it doesn't work, I would just use Sunny 16 and guess, because you really don't need a meter with any film camera if you have full control over aperture and shutter, which you do with this. And that's pretty much all that's on this camera, is an aperture dial and a shutter speed dial, and that's it. And it has a film speed selector because you do have to set the film speed based on what kind of film if you're using that meter. But like I said, a lot of them, the meter stopped working. But this is a great little pocket camera, but it's not nearly as pocketable as like that little Leica 3F that I carry. It fits in my pants pocket. I was just out the other day with that, and it's such a conversation piece, the fact that it's not only something that I'm using, but it's something I'm carrying in my pocket. And the Leica CL was the camera that came out the same time that they came out with the Leica M5, which was the larger bodied camera that broke design from the 3 and the 6 and the 4. It came out after the 4, and people were like completely unwilling to accept a new modern design that had a different shape. And so they quick went back to the original shape with the 6. But the 5 almost sunk them because the CL came out and it was like a third of the price new as the 5 was, so nobody was buying that M5. And I'm still a big fan of the M5. I like that big old tank feeling of that camera. But if you want the smallest Leica you can get, and probably the least expensive, the Leica CL, it's a really small body. Some people say the focus is a little bit more or less critical, less accurate, because the rangefinder space between where the rangefinder is and where the viewfinder is, it's not as wide of a body. And I guess the wider the body, the better the triangulation, and you can get a more accurate focus for close-ups. I'm not sure that I've noticed that, but I've only had a couple of rolls of film through this, and that's kind of where I'm at with it. And I actually brought it out because I thought, you know, it doesn't get much use. I need to run the second roll of film I've ever shot with it through and get it out of there. Let's see, we're on only 15, so I need to run that through. And I always buy 36 frame rolls of films, which if I were rolling my own film, sometimes I think about I should get a bulk loader and roll 12s so that I could shoot less and process more frequently. But sometimes 36s, I was doing a little bit of talk on Leicas, and I was trying to show somebody the shutter, and I kept pulling a different Leica out saying, well, let me show you what the shutter sounds like. I'll just show you some tests. I'll find one of these that doesn't have film in it. And I couldn't find one that didn't have film in it, because I always have film in all my cameras, and they're all different states of use depending on where I've taken it and when I'm taking it next. And that's the case with this one too. But the Leica CL, again, the CL, if it says Minolta, because Minolta made this with them. If it says Minolta, you can get it for a little bit less money. If you get the CLE, the Minolta made another version which had an electronic shutter, and it had frame lines that went down to 28. This one only has frame lines that go down to 40, and you can use a 28 on it, but I don't think that you're getting an accurate view of what that 28 is going to give you unless you use an accessory viewfinder. It's got a hot shoe, but I'm not a flash guy. It's got a place that you can mount a cable release. Pretty simple camera, pretty high quality for a small pocket camera, especially if you want to be even more incognito than maybe a Leica M series. If you're going to a concert and you want to look like an amateur, but you're still bringing a pretty high quality camera with you, that's a good camera, Leica CL. All right, that's today's photography talk. If you're enjoying these, hit the subscribe button. If you can support, please hit the Patreon, and comments are always welcome too. Thanks so much.